Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I am back. And super excited about tonight's conversation. Wherever you're watching from, do me a favor. Do me a favor and go ahead and subscribe to this. It's your boy, Coach Ricardo Miller, and I'm excited to be joined with my son tonight, RJ Miller himself. RJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
You know, people love it when you join me, man. My family in the Bahamas, they love you. You just celebrated your birthday, 19. Do you feel 19 is the question?
Yeah, I feel kind of 19, like 18.75 or something like that.
You look good, man. You look good. I'm trying to go for your six pack. Okay, I'm trying to work it. And you know the mantra. What's the mantra?
Getting better
Getting
with
better
age.
with age. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting better with age, and so I'm really excited about this talk with my son. I only got one child, only one son, and I said, after watching what was floating around on the internet, what went viral, I thought, I wonder what RJ would say. I wonder how this conversation would go if him and I had a talk about this. And I don't do really candid conversations. I don't do just open conversations with anybody like that. But I thought, let me dive into this with RJ. He ain't afraid to express his opinion. He has something to say. He's a Miller. My mama would say he got the gift of gab. All right. But let's dive into this. This week, ladies and gentlemen, all circulating throughout the internet, this video voiceover, or if you want to call it that, of Kirk Franklin son releasing a moment that him and his dad had that was, everywhere it was being talked about, and a lot of people have given their opinion on this. A lot of people are saying what they think about Kirk Franklin. I love me some Kirk Franklin. Do you want a revolution? Ooh, ooh. Do you, RJ? You don't even know that one, do you? You know that one?
What? The
That's a
songs are
little bit
rough.
before you, though.
Do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. I said, do you want a revolution?
Well, straight up, here's the deal. We love Kirk Franklin. He's a man of God. He loves the Lord. And obviously, as a believer, we're part of the Christian body. We love him and his family. And so, as a family, clearly hearing the interview from Kirk, he mentioned that him and his son has been having a hard time over the years. And it got to a moment to where, he expressed himself. He went all in. He went all in and just, you know what? I'm going to say everything I wanted to say. If I ever had to say whatever I could figure out to say, if I don't know, he just totally just went all in and shared everything. And unbeknown to him, his son was recording it. Not only was he recording it, he decided to release it. Now, I don't know. If you guys are watching and listening, let me know what you think. Do you think he should have been recording it, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think he should have been recording the conversation he's having with his dad? It's a heated conversation now. It's a heated conversation. It's only a few seconds of the video, the recording that we're hearing. But the truth is, I don't even think everybody should have been all up in it, and so I didn't take the time to go in and try to. I want to hear everything. I'm not one of those type of guys. But I wanted to talk about this with you, RJ. Did you get to hear some of the recording?
Yeah, I actually did get to see the YouTube clips of it. It was pretty interesting, pretty fascinating to hear. So.
Well, I know you grew up in a Christian home. You grew up. I'm not even anything close to popular as Kirk Franklin, but you got a pastor as a dad. You're a PK, and
Yeah.
some people be like, man, has the house with the PK? Has it ever been a tense situation? Has there ever been a strong moment in the house? And I'm a man. Kirk says, listen. He said, I was watching a part where he was being interviewed afterwards, and he says, hey, me and my son is no pair. We're no pair. There is some respect. And I felt disrespected. Personally, I don't agree with his fully respond, but heated moments. What do you think about heated moments before we dive into Kirk's heated moment?
Well, I mean, a heated moment to me, like what you can say outside the actual application of the heated moment is you should always think before you try and speak or act. But I mean, sometimes this just is not what's happening because I mean, like the full emotion of it, like you said, sometimes the words will just run out and you want to say everything that you've been meaning to say for a while. So I mean, that's something that can happen during heated moments, but to me in this particular case, I feel like a heated moment was not only spurred out of control a little bit, but it was also taken advantage of, which is something that I'll get into a little bit more depth on later in the conversation. But heated moments are something that I feel like are especially personal, especially between two people and two very intimate as a father and a son. I mean, I've had plenty of heated moments with friends and family as well. But like in those heated moments, you need to be able to take a step back afterwards and be able to dissect and break them down. And that's what really makes you learn and grow from the heated moments. Because I mean, you could take the heated moment as being pressure. Well, pressure forms diamonds. So take it as that.
Yeah, pressure forms diamonds, and what that means, you just never know what you're creating when you're under pressure. There are two things I think in this whole situation you got to pay attention to: the action that comes from a heated moment, or the words that is expressed during a heated moment.
Yeah.
You can take back words, and you can take back actions. There are a lot of people who have thoughts. You have thoughts, but if those thoughts listen, we're gonna need to get you some coffee. You drink coffee?
Yeah, I got back from a long day at work, man.
listen, I'm so proud of you at work, though, man. You holding it down. What time you have to get up to go to work?
About 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes it varies. My last shift, I had to get up at like 3 a.m.
Wow. Yeah, so that was major. Next time I ask you for an interview, I'll make sure I'm like, hey, what are you rested, or you need me to bring you some Starbucks?
Hey, I'm gonna be here for the interview. Well, as I'm ready, I'm awake and I'm ready to talk, even though my body is saying, let's get something else.
I know you're doing great, but as you stated just now, pressure produces diamonds, and it's important for us to watch what we say and watch what we do. Pay attention to both. And in this situation, something was said and something was done, and both of those can't be taken back. Let's talk about the fact that the friction between father and son. The friction between father and son. You and I have had our moments. We've had our, wait, hey, I'm still talking to you, buddy, right? And
Yeah.
hey, man, you ain't listening to me, Dad, right? Those things are real though, and,
Yeah.
and they can escalate to a very crazy state. I mean, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Like something that I've bragged to multiple people about in our personal growth as a father and son is that like a lot of the time you'll just get in those heated moments where just like you'll like with having parents and being able to like have a discussion is oftentimes whenever you're having a discussion that you want to grow and that you have a particular goal for, was it's a back and forth. It's almost like ping pong. It keeps on bouncing higher and higher. But the thing is that with the parent relationship and the child, oftentimes the perspective that that is taken in, what I had to learn and what I had to put into application for us to have this completely separate discussion on that wasn't even in the heat of the moment, is that a lot of the time the child will try and like speak up to try and get the adult to understand in the moment. However, oftentimes that's completely misconstrued into being disrespectful. However, I know that there are cases definitely where it is disrespectful, but a lot of the time, like when you're in that moment, just like, yo, you aren't listening to me, I'm trying to communicate this. Just like, I don't need for us to communicate. I'm trying to tell you something. I'm your parent. You just need to listen. Yeah. Like, what was it? Like me and you had plenty of those moments and everything in the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can definitely like be able to work your way and be able to construct and build something more positive around that.
Let's talk about. I know I had to tell you a couple of times. Hey, man, listen, I'm in America, but I'm Caribbean. I'm island, okay? And there is some difference between international parenting and what we would say the American parenting style. And so we've had a conversation on that before. And then you mentioned that you went to school with a couple of your friends who had international parents. and that you all talked about the differences and the challenges. Talk about that a little bit.
Man, yeah. What was it? All the kids are international. It's almost like an on-running joke, just like, oh yeah, have you ever like not finished your plate of food at the table and just like you get up and just like, hey, where you think you're going? Hey, that plate ain't clean. Just like, and I'll come back. Come and finish that. Or like, what was you're sitting there just like just like some small stuff where like, I mean, us as children, like we have fun and we have really funny conversations about it, but just like the difference in having parents that are coming in from international like immigrant parents or stuff like that. Like I feel like the difference that comes in is that like for a lot of us kids, we have like different standards set for us because we're coming on to an area that we have no ground for. So like a lot of the time, like those parents, like they're sitting there, like drilling into us, just like, yo, what was it? If you have a B, this B isn't good enough. I need you to go there and drive for that A. Oh, what was it? What was it? Whenever you're watching those basketball games, why didn't you box out that guy? Just like, what was it? Like, I mean, you and my friend, I had a friend in high school. He's captain basketball team named David. His dad was African, I think, from Zimbabwe, and his dad would always get on him after the games, just sitting there in a suit, just like. So why did you do this, huh? Like he scored like 15, 20 points and then dropped like 7 assists. Like you still I need for you to elevate your game. You need to get higher if you really want to excel and do better. I'm just sitting there just like, I mean, it's rough, but I mean, that's the life of it.
Child. I can remember, before we go on, we're going to dive in, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel, man. Put on that notification bell. And I may bring another parent in on another night to continue this conversation. I want another father. I'm going to ask another dad to join me. And so I want to hear him, and then we may end up having 2 sons and 2 fathers. And we're going to talk about this because it's an interesting deal. But I can remember there were moments where I've had to say to you, RJ, hey, man, when I grew up, it was not the option to freely express myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't even grow up with a man in the house. I grew up in a single parent home. My mother played no jokes. My mother was hardcore. And so you didn't have an opinion. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I had to tell my son, hey, man, I'm having a hard time. I'm having to adjust. And now I'm raising or influencing or overseeing and parenting and having to be engaged in the life of a young man. And he can freely express himself. He has a thought outside of mine, and I'm trying to present my case, and he wants to deliver and present his. I grew up in a home. If you want to present your case, you need to have your own keys, have your job. Come on, you know what I'm saying? What do you think about that in relations to a lot of young people not getting the understanding of there's a different generation, the gap between an understanding. The desire of the parent is one thing, but the children are now being raised with a different type of understanding and getting that clarity through. Because when we look at Kirk Franklin, obviously his son think he's right, and he's more than likely have somebody around him who's saying, man, your dad is a jerk. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he could do this, your dad's that, and your dad's this, but the reality of it is, and his friends may believe he's right, and he may believe he's right in relation to his friends, but then Kirk is in a different frame of mind, of a different generation. He's also come up with a principle that simply says, no, you don't talk to me any kind of way. As a matter of fact, his generation is, you don't talk back to me. and so forth. So what's your thought? What's your view on that?
I mean, honestly, actually, I mean, I don't know. Like, actually, some of my other friends would also agree. Like in what our take is going to be like in our far future, whenever we have kids, is there definitely has to be some lines you have to draw.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like at some point in time, like your kid just has to learn how to just shut up and just take your word and just put out respect, because there is no it's not a peer relationship. I mean, there's supposed to definitely be a connection and an ease of communication and something that's supposed to grow, because I mean, to have a growing child, you need to have a growing parent as well. Yeah. But the whole idea of it also is that it needs to be a clear-cut line. Like just how a teacher can need to be a teacher and not just a friend. It's the same, if not a bigger and wider and more defined gap for a parent. So that difference in generation and everything, I feel like that's not only like a difference in generation, but it's a difference in age and mentality and maturity. Because I mean, I've done a good amount of research throughout the whole situation, but I don't know if Kirk Franklin's son has a child.
Yep. No.
Oh well, there you go. Like for me, that puts it into perspective. Like me personally, like I mean, obviously don't have a kid, but I also think a lot. So what was it? Like I'll think in put myself into perspective to say, oh, well, what was it? Like, well, I need to think about how my dad is taking this interview because a lot of the time your parent isn't just thinking about you and your current situation, just your isolated feeling of your incident. Like I feel like with Kirk Franklin's child, he was sitting there thinking just like, oh, I missed out on this, oh, I missed out on that, oh, what was it? Why didn't I get this? Why didn't I get that? But for Kirk Franklin, he may be thinking, oh, well, maybe he didn't get this because what was it? In turn, the lack of this will supplement a need for this. Like was just like how was it? I remember like while I was doing my whole car search, you said, RJ, I could easily just toss you I could easily just help you out and just toss you a car that way easy. And the whole thing would be done. But you'd be missing on the lesson that'd be there to be given. And I'd be like, yeah, that's true. It's still very, very, very frustrating process, but I mean, it's true. I mean, now I'm some of my friends got cars. And I mean, now like I give some of my friends lessons on how to work with the deal with cars. So like I feel like it's a difference in maturity and understanding and where our message is to come from. Like he may be just thinking about the short term and his pleasures that he wants right now and what he missed out on. But Kirk Franklin's actually sitting there thinking about, oh well, he needs life lessons, he needs to be able to mature and be able to take these things on for later on in life. So
let's dive into the fact that he's actually an adult now. So he's actually not 19 anymore. He's not 21. He's not even 25. He's definitely not 16. He's 30 plus. What are your thoughts on carrying those issues? Because one of the things that I believe, and I've tried to teach you, I said, you have to learn how to accept the fact that life is a series of decisions. And you're gonna have to learn how to make those decisions that works for you, or it's gonna come back and bite you. And we've talked about that. But one day I also said to you, you can reflect and look back and say, Dad, you travel a lot. You know what I'm saying, Dad? You grew up in a home the last couple of years. You had to walk through a divorce situation, parent separation. You walk through going to school, the car situation, having to get a job. There are so many things you could have perceived. Someone should have done better for you, or I could have done better for you. But in the midst of it, you pretty much walk through it with a sober-minded view that you are going to try to navigate through this in the most mature sense of the word. When we think about Kirk Franklin's son being, I think it's 33, and still coming on with that level of aggression to his dad, what's your view on that?
I think that is extremely difficult for celebrities to raise a child. That is what I think of it. Like a lot of the time, like I feel a mixture of several different syndromes tossed in with him. He may have felt like he had that whole only child thing being like the first child of Kirk Franklin's original, just his father and him family. So he felt like he had to carry that burden on his shoulders. And then he had this whole new family coming in. Then he had the whole daughter situation coming in. So like he had all these stuff compounded on top of him, and he saw that other people were living a life that he wanted to live. So I mean, was it to me like he like at the end of the day, it came down to a fork in the road for him. And was it now he's 33 and everything, but I feel like this decision came way back in the past, and he's just been living the road down that decision. He either could make a decision to say, hey, these are the cards that I've been given. Now I have to deal with it and be able to learn how to traverse and pretty much make my way in life. Or he could say, I've been given these cards by someone else. I need to find someone to blame. So pretty much he took the other path, and now he's been traversing down that path ever since, I feel like. So I'm not going to sit there and just say, oh, what was it? He's been doing a terrible job as like this human being. He's learned how to mature and stop being such a child, and et cetera. I mean, I know that being a celebrity and having all these different influences and expectations of millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of fans have got to be difficult to be able to deal with. I mean, even in adulthood, but what was it? It's just something that you have to be able to swallow that pill and learn and mature with. So, I mean, I can't within that depth of being able to speak to his own parenting style and his own way that he's turned up into an adult. I don't really know how to deal with, I can't really speak as to how fame and everything would change someone, which is what I feel like is the biggest factor. He was spoiled by being a part of someone whose life is famous and being a celebrity. So I feel like that altered his way to be able to take that. Because I mean, personally, if that happened and he was just in like a normal middle class or lower middle class family, he just have to bite that bullet and move on. Because I mean, his dad only can care for everybody in his immediate family. He ain't just gonna keep on carrying him on like that. If you want to be carried on, you have to live in your parents' house and live by their rules. So,
right.
But Yeah.
Interesting. That's really good, RJ. Thanks for sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined with RJ Miller himself. Listen, one day I can just, I might just disappear and they don't even know that the thing is still going on 50 years later because there's another RJ and then there's another RJ and I need an RJ too, okay? I just want you to know the voice got to be an RJ. But here's the deal. What's your view on Kirk Franklin's response? I mean, obviously, man, he went in. I'm going to share my opinion on what I think about the son, but I want you to share what you think about Kirk Franklin's response. What you said, I thought, is a very good angle to think about. The fact that he grew up in a high-pressure situation to some degree. It's not a normal situation. His dad is a celebrity, a world-renowned gospel artist, with what some would say is with limited means, and he may have grew up entitled and with the belief that he should have this or he should have that, and so unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this is the case when you grow up with stuff. When you grow up privileged and having certain levels of resources that you think you deserve, earn, or have the right to, when that's not the case. And the first child oftentimes have a different way of dealing. Most families, when it comes to first child situations, and only child situation, a middle child situation. There's always those kind of deals. Right, but man, I'm praying for his son. I'm praying for Kirk Franklin. I'm praying for the family, as he mentioned. He asked us, and it's a family situation. I think the son was wrong for recording the conversation. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, what was it? I mean, I understand where he was coming from with the whole idea of recording it. Like, I understand in this isolated incident if he was the idea of recording it and just keeping it personal. However, he stepped into a whole different territory of wrong whenever he publicized it. Like, sure, what was it? Like, if you wanted to record it and be like, yo, dad, why'd you say this? Why'd you say that? So what was it? He didn't just fumble over his words. He could actually have a good, deep conversation with some solid ground basis to understand both sides of the conversation. I'd understand that kind of recording. However, you fumbled the cards whenever you brought it into pretty much everybody's light. Like, then you're airing out the dirty laundry pretty much to say. Like, that I feel like was completely uncalled for, and that he knew what he was doing, and I feel like that was almost like a villain role that he was playing. Like, I mean, what was it? To me personally, like whenever you record something that's personal between two people and it's almost entirely portrayed as negative, that's some you want to see that person, especially a celebrity, man. Like, you want to see that person's career and their reputation burn. And you want to see that person go down. You want to see that person do bad and feel terrible. And like being miserable. So like, to me, that was just a bad move on his part. Like, it was
but for a son to do that, not even a friend, not someone at the office, not someone from high school, but a son. What are your thoughts?
That is like some Cain and Abel type stuff to me. Like in a sort. Like, I mean, I know that was brothers and everything, but like to me, like I guess I could take it into as this like the son felt like he was robbed of so much in the past, so like he's going to go and try and take something from his father back to even the playing field, which once again it's not supposed to be an even playing field in the first place. But what was it? Like, to me, that was completely out of hand and completely out of control. Like, I mean, that's something that, like, to me, in my own perspective, maybe if me and a close friend got into a deep hearted beef, we'd do that. And that's just because that's just a friend. That's not even family. It's not even blood. But your own father, like, literally put life into you to be in this world. Like, you want to see their life's work go to be destroyed? Like, that's uncalled for in my eyes. So
let's talk about the fact that Kirk Franklin apologized. You think he should have apologized to his fans for the way he responded? Should he apologize to his son for cussing him out?
I think the son doesn't need an apology. To be quite honest with you, what was it? The son, like that, like, I think that he did some pretty like the phrase that we call it, some shiesty stuff.
Yeah.
where it's like real shady, real like behind the back, like real backstabby type stuff. So like, I don't think the son needs an apology. However, in my own personal perspective, I believe that like notable Christian figures, they have a completely unnecessarily high and unnecessarily clean and sparkly image that can never be tainted. So, I mean, in the world that we live in, Kirk Franklin knew to apologize if he wanted to keep his image, and he apologized to keep his image. It's what, I mean, anybody would have done. I mean, like, what was it? To me, he's like the LeBron or the Michael Jordan of the gospel world. So like LeBron and Michael Jordan, they had their little scandals here and there, and they need to apologize to the media because that's what PR and that's what famous people do.
Yeah.
So I mean, like in that right, yeah. But I mean, if we're talking about like morals and down to Christianity, he's not a perfect person. Nobody's a perfect person. So I mean, like in that right, we didn't have a right to judge him. But I mean, we live in an age where everybody's getting judged. I mean, you can judge somebody on Twitter with snap of the finger. So he of course needed to apologize in that right.
You think people are buying the apology? You think and you think people are pushing it a little bit too far and just need to get out of the Franklin's family business?
Yes, now their family business. Like what was it? I know personally, like I'd be livid right now if if one day I felt like I was living my nice little Christian life and everything. I worked my way up. I crossed my way from just the Christian world to the mainstream world and got everybody to be really interested in gospel again. And then all of a sudden my life turned to keeping up with the Kardashians. I wouldn't be happy. Like, I mean, personally, like I feel like this a complete turn for the worse. And I mean, like, honestly, like this isn't the life that they really asked for, and this isn't the life that they want to keep up, I believe. Like, if anything, I feel like man, this is just bad. Like the son pretty much just like really like opened up the gates to his family to be completely exposed. Like every dirty, like every nook and cranny is being exposed and looked at now. So I mean, like it's really being like done terribly. But
so everybody's having to be interviewed. Kirk's wife is being interviewed. The son's mother is being interviewed. I bet there's some friends who are probably trying to get an interview here and there. And so you're right. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, should Kirk Franklin apologize to his son? What's your opinion on that? I know, as you mentioned, RJ, eloquently, you stated clearly from a professional standpoint, he has a fan base, and the words he expressed was shocking to his fan base. And people were like, well, he those level of cuss words weren't no introductory cuss word, Kirk. Those must have had to, you knew those words prior to the you had with your son, boy, because they come from deep within. And then you have those seasoned saints, RJ. What about the seasoned saints? The mothers and the mothers, the old mothers in the church, who says, well, bless God, he must have not been praying enough because he was able to curse that easy. And I was talking to a good friend of mine. He said, when I get upset, I just speak in tongues, I just, and so some people train themselves a little bit different. And obviously, people are going to judge you from all of those different angles, all of those different positions. People are going to judge. However, at the end of the day, no matter how he responds, people are going to judge because it's all out there now, and because the son brought this out to the public. Should Kirk Franklin apologize to his son? I think he's saying they're walking through the process, and he's hoping that they'll walk through the process of getting help. I don't think he has to. I think if the son is in the route of trying to get help, and I think if there is some level of healthy reconciliation trying to be formed and conversation, the Bible says as much as possible, live peaceably with all men. And at some point you got to say sorry. I think I've said sorry to you a couple of times. I said, man, listen, I've just had a rough time. I'm trying. Hey, I think I told you that a couple of times. Hey, I'm trying. And those were rough for me, those were rough for me. And I bet it could still be rough for Kirk Franklin. And he said this, he is human. And most people don't see it as that, though. Some people see you're exempt. What are your views on celebrities and high profile people being exempt from the rules when the truth is they are just like anyone else?
I mean, yeah, they're literally just a normal human being, just like everybody else. They just happen to do something that people find entertaining. Like, I mean, to me, it's completely unnecessary and unrealistic expectations for someone to be completely perfect and flawless. Yeah. And going back to your statement on whenever people were like, "Oh, you said those words with some conviction. You knew exactly what you knew exactly what you were saying." I mean, to me, like in my head, I kind of laughed about it, just like, man, like that's like saying like Kirk Franklin was a Christian since birth. Like, I mean, like he came out the womb with the Bible and said, "All right, now come on, like come on now, like you expect dude to come out of the womb like singing hymnals, like come on now, like he grew up just as normal as anybody else. He just happened to find a passion, find something that was able to be massively marketed and massively seen to everybody else as was it widely Christian, wide, be able to be enjoyed by a large crowd. That doesn't make it any different from anybody else. I mean, to me, like was I take you for example in like a great in a great way, like what was you literally said multiple times whenever you're growing up, like you up in the streets and everything, like was real thug type stuff. I mean, you know, and everything like ordained pastor and all this other great stuff. Like just because like as a Christian, like going to school oftentimes it was put in we don't go to we don't go to Christ perfect. We go to Christ to become to work that journey towards Him. And we don't have to come to Christ already clean. We go to Him to get clean. Yeah. So like what was it like that like what was it again? That was just a funny expectation to me, pretty much. Yeah. Like I mean, I think that these people, a lot of them are hot takes. Hopefully, I hope that these aren't people's wholehearted opinions, because if so, if you really believe that everybody is just one straight line, black and white Christian, then there's going to be some harsh truths out there waiting for you in real life, because everybody makes mistakes, and there is not a single Christian on this planet that is continually on this perfect path of Christianity.
Hey, RJ. Hey, Kirk is a gospel artist, but I believe there are a lot of pastors who cuss a lot around their homes. They just haven't been recorded. There are a lot of Christians who know. I mean, everybody knows somebody who has lost it, and I'm not saying that's a common practice and that's the way you should be. But however, as you mentioned, people are human, and we're on a journey to learn how to live more like Christ. And I've had my share of moments. I must say, I've had my share of moments where I almost felt like I wanted to snap back and be back to Soldier Road and say, "Oi!" and it's not only family, it's friends. It could be at the gas station. It could be at the mall. Just somebody think because he's a reverend, he's a Christian, but he's man. You know what I'm saying? He is human. And the truth is that old nature have a tendency. I like what you said, it's like Kirk Franklin came out of the womb with a choir. No, he didn't. You know what I'm saying? He grew up in Fort Worth, man. He grew up, you know what I'm saying? And here's the deal. We live in a culture where even though you're trying to walk that word, you're watching television, and television has those words being expressed, and music all around has those words being expressed. So a lot of times you don't even know you're picking up stuff. You don't even know you're picking up stuff until you get in a heated moment. And before you know it, you're like, I didn't even know I had that in me. There are some people, let me tell you something, that devil will push you, man. He'll push you and push you to a place where you get publicly shamed, embarrassed. I can't believe I went that far. And some people would judge that. But the truth is, the Bible talks about take the beam out of your own eye rather than trying to take the plank out of someone else's eye. And hey, RJ, before we bring this to a close, I'm going to do a part 2 to this talk, because I want to have some questions that are going to dissect certain pieces of this. And then I'm going to also invite another dad and another son to join me in this talk in the next couple of days. But before we go, there are people who would probably judge the son and is judging Kirk Franklin. What's your view on the whole situation? We already agree about, should he apologize? I don't think he has to. And it's none of our business either way. But now that there are people having their views, you're 19 years old. What's your view to those who are watching and judging?
It's not your business. It's not your area to judge him. Like once again, like I mean, it's biblically written that we are not to be the judge on earth. I mean, we're not the person deciding who's going to go to heaven. Like whenever we go up to heaven, that little tweet that you sent saying, "Oh, Kirk Franklin, was it so and so?" God's not going to pull up that tweet and be like, "Well, Kirk, I'm sorry, you can't come inside." Like, I mean, we're definitely not going to be the people to judge and decide who goes in. Like, at the end of the day, we can give. I mean, sure, you can give in your own opinion, but like at that, you only know so much in the situation. I mean, before this whole situation even happened, you probably didn't even know that Kirk Franklin had ever cursed before. And right. I mean, to
before the situation, some people didn't know he had a son that age. I didn't know he had a son that old. Come on. Go
Now,
ahead.
come on now, like these are some basic stuff. Like, I mean, Kirk Franklin's a human who had probably slipped up sometimes in his past. Kirk Franklin is a family man who has some kids. Like, there's some basic things that people didn't know before this whole thing exploded. So imagine how much other stuff you don't know about their family.
Yeah.
And you're giving major pieces and major criticism to his whole family life. You have no right to be able to go into and interject that deeply.
Well, thank you so much, RJ. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased, RJ Miller, joining me live on this side of the evening. I texted him. I said, "Can we do a talk? We never talked about this. We didn't do no prep or anything." I said, "I just want your opinion." And you know, a good friend of mine asked me this morning. He said, "Man, you and RJ gonna do that talk?" I said, "If he gets off on time." And he said, "You know, you're gonna give him some questions. What he's going? I don't know what he's gonna say. I just know that his head is on his body right. You have a good mind. Your heart is amazingly connected to the Creator, and your views are solid. I'm super proud of you, and I'm looking forward to having even more conversations like this. We're going to dive into this again, and I'm going to ask someone else to join us so we can see how the conversation will continue to move on, because it's not even about Kirk Franklin anymore. In my view, as to what we're talking about, it's about us helping each other to understand, get other people business. That's one. Two, people have struggles and challenges that have been going on for generations that you just never knew, but now we're starting to learn because someone could record something. Someone could go ahead and post something. You know, someone could just decide to vent in an environment that is being recorded. And so times have changed. But the reality of it is, mothers have cussed out sons for centuries. Sons have gotten in troubles with fathers for centuries. And this is not the first father and son conflict. It probably won't be the last father and son conflict. We just need to pray for each other, you know, and get the help that we need. I love the fact that Kirk Franklin said they're trying to get the help for their son. They've been trying to walk through this as a family. And as RJ says, let's just get out of their business. Let's mind our business. RJ, thank you again for joining me, man. Go and rest up. Thank you. Have a great night, ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do me a favor and subscribe to this channel. If you enjoyed this conversation, leave a comment below. I appreciate it. Have a good night, everybody. Bye. Bye, champ.